So welcome to this evening about V-Stage. I'm Ludwig Olin. I'm from Sweden. I'm covering for Peter Schurz that was supposed to be here. So I'm a bit of a last minute, but we normally work together, so we do the same job. So although we have different personalities, and his both German and French are much better than mine, so I will try to have this in English, and please stop me if we don't understand each other, and we have two exceptional translators here. Yeah, and I work as a European product specialist together with Peter Schurz and Andy Pimblott that you possibly have seen in some of the Andertons videos or something. So we are a team of three that are product specialists for Europe, and then we work together with the other product specialists like Diaz in the States and all of that. So we sort of form a team that are interested in what you like and what you know and what you want to learn and what you want our products to do. So I'm also all ears about feedback. So if things we should be doing better or different or more of, it's a perfect opportunity to tell me, and I'll bring that forward to Japan. I've been with Roland not as long as these guys, but almost. I'm still the new guy. I've only been at Roland for 23 years, so that's a short time in Roland years. But enough about me. We're here for the V-Stage, and I hope you know something about it, but I will be quite brief in the overview, and then as we are so few, we can spend more time on the questions and answers, I think. So, but what we see here is our latest attempt at a stage keyboard. So back in the days, we invented this type of things with the we could go even more back, but VR760 was sort of the first modern version of this, and where we sort of had different sections for different instruments, and then we have made some better and worse attempts to continue this, but this is where we sort of made a real effort to do something really much better than we've done before. So we try to do it at a professional level and as good as we can. So what we have is 4 sections. So we have an organ section with drawbars, and it's based on the virtual tone wheel organ we had in the Phantom. So it's the same basics, but we did improve the Rotary section, or Leslie, if you will. If we're not broadcasting this live, I can say Leslie, but otherwise I would say Rotary speaker. And then we also did some more stuff with the overdrive section, so that's improved also over the Phantom. And we also have now 3 sections as a B3 would have. So we have an upper and a lower and a pedal section. And these can be either played from a single keyboard, or you can connect an extra keyboard for the lower part and for the pedals. The V-Stage comes in 2 sizes. This is the 88, and I personally I have a hard time choosing for myself because I like this one, but I also like the 76 one. This one has a weighted hammer action, so it has a progressive hammer action. So it's a bit heavier in the bass and a bit lighter in the treble section. This is the keypad we call PHA4, and one common question we get is, why didn't we use the PHA50, which is supposed to be better, or at least it's more piano-like. But we actually talked to lots of artists and users of that kind, and we, together with them, we came to the conclusion that this was the best keypad for this instrument, because it's a stage keyboard like this is almost like a compromise. It's not only a piano. It's supposed to be good for organ and for electric piano and for synths as well. And also the PHA-4 is much lighter, and it doesn't require the instrument to become as deep as the PHA-50. So we also wanted to keep it compact and light, to be able to travel or carry yourself to a gig. So if we would have used the PHA-50, which we did on many prototypes, then it was like 5 kilos more heavy, and it was also deeper. But this is the first time we used the PHA-4 with a solid wood bottom. So this keypad also feels a lot different depending on what chassis you put it in. And I'm sure you will feel that as well. So personally, I think it was the right choice, and this is also a bit faster than the 50. So it's a good. I don't really like the word compromise, but it still is a compromise. So we felt that this was the best keypad to put in here. The 76 one has a waterfall keypad, a newly developed one, and that's really nice. And you will learn that it plays like butter. It's really, really nice, and I really like that keypad. That one is based on the sort of the flagship synth keypad we have for the Phantom 6 EX. So it's sort of the same key, but with modifications. We also spent a lot of time to sorry, I forgot the word, but to get this keypad response to be perfect for each of the sections. So there's been a lot of work done here. Sorry, I came out on a tangent already, but organ section has everything you would assume there is. So, you know, the chorus vibrato, the overdrive section, percussion section with second and third and all of that, and also a rotary speakers section. But we also, I could just let you hear it also. Otherwise it will be just me talking. That would be really boring. So what I like to do is I like to use these two buttons over here. We have that's normally a brake and a speed button. So I like the speed button, but I personally almost never use the rotary speaker in its brake position. So when it's standing still. And if I do, there's a button over here to that. So I personally have it assigned to be the chorus vibrato on-off button instead. So because I much rather play with that. So then I can quite easily switch off both the chorus and the rotary speed at the same time. And of course, this could be done with a pedal or something instead. So it's really easy to do that kind. But except for the B3, we also included a transistor, or actually two transistor organs. So like Farfisa and Vox organs, as well as some pipe organs. And these also use the drawbars, so you can actually create really convincing and nice organ tones of all kinds, I would say, in this section. A common thing for all of the sections is that there will be a tone select rotary like this. And when I just turn it, it will select between these, the tone wheel, transistor 1, transistor 2, and pipe. And and sort of select a favorite in each of these sections. But the cool thing is that I can also push it to see sort of the full tone browser. And in here I can see that I have many more sort of preset tones in each of the categories. And if I would find one that I like, I can just hold Shift and press this button, and then it will become a favorite as well. So now it will be one more of the tones when I just turn this knob. So this is a really clever thing. Instead of, you know, browsing through all of the tones over here, I can just select my personal favorites. And this is true for each of the sections. So after a while, I'll find my personal preference for organs, my personal preference for pianos and electric pianos and synths. So I like also very much these little tweaks. What I didn't tell you is that for each section there's an on-off button, so that will sort of do what you think it does. and there's a level, and then there's also a section where you can control the octave, and you can also set splits and then tell which side of the split this section goes to. So say I want the organ only on the left side, I can do like this. And it's very easy to just set the split point with this button and telling what key. Hello. Were you stuck in traffic? Yeah, sorry. But happy that you came here. You didn't miss that much. And you will get the chance to ask questions later. But we sort of just briefly touch on who I am and the organ section. Next up is the piano section. And it's really nice to play, and it's based on our V piano. That's our fully modeled piano, so it's all calculated in real time, so no samples were involved, or actually that's not true, but I think there were samples involved in the beginning, but then we analyzed the samples and we can sort of recreate each string in real time. So whenever I press one of these strings, you will also hear, if I'm quiet, that you can hear that there's no looping going on, there's no loop points there. It will continue to live for a very long time. And also we can do stuff like, if I hold these keys down and play the corresponding keys in other octaves, it will sort of let these keys resonate because they are now open. If you do this on a acoustic piano, you will see the same thing. And this might be a small thing, but actually if you use it for maybe just playing that or something, or playing melodies in the right hand, then you will hear that these tones will become a bit pronounced. But we also have on the V-Stage we have a dedicated brightness knob on the panel, so it's very quick and easy to go from a dull to a bright sound. Depending on what your needs are. Maybe I want something more like that, and also a stereo with control. So maybe you want to be more narrow in a band situation, perhaps, or you might even want to go full mono. But we also have the full piano designer in here, so you can do stuff like opening the lid and select how much string resonance you have, and damper resonance, and also how much of the hammer noise. And this is actually quite useful for a stage keyboard because on a big stage, in a big PA, maybe you don't want that much of the hammer noise because that might actually ruin things for you. Whereas if you're recording, maybe you want a bit more intimate sound, and then you want more of these sort of noises. Duplex scale, do you know what that is? I didn't, but I learned from my history in pianos. But it's, and I'll try to explain this in a good way. But on a grand piano, there's like all of the strings, but then there's a part of the strings that you don't really play with the hammer, but it still resonates when you play really loud. And if I just do this, you can hear this metallic, and you might not want that at 10, but a little bit of that when you're playing a bit more. And now I turned off the reverb, so it's not reverb. But then again, we also have some pianos or some instruments returned to us, and people say, "Oh, it's faulty. There's some kind of metallic noise," and this is it. So luckily, you can turn it off if you want to. But the thing with the piano being fully modeled is a fact is that every of the strings are calculated in real time, so we have full polyphony. So I could play all of them at the same time. And there would be like no interruptions, just like a grand piano. There are some more settings for key off noise, for example. So there will be noises when I release the keys. And then we have a representation of that. But there's, of course, more things to do in the editing, but normally this kind of instrument is more like, you turn up to a gig you might not have prepared before you do a lot of things in the spur of the moment. So, but if you want to later then go in, tweak stuff even more, there is a lot of things to be done. One thing is that we can, for these kind of instruments, we can tune every key. So say, it's quite common actually that maybe you get a hang up on a certain key or the tuning. Maybe I don't like this one, then I can just go in there and have it a bit. And that's, there is a profession that is a piano tuner, so why not? And it actually makes a whole lot of difference how you tune it. And we have the same thing for volume and character. Volume can be really useful. Say you are in a venue where you have a standing wave of a certain key. I don't really hear one here, but if I did, we could just go in and turn just that key down a bit in the volume. And that's probably smarter than trying to find it within EQ to begin with. And character is sort of the character of the sound, and you can set that also for each key.
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Sometimes new noises in the room.
Yeah.
And then
exactly.
One note setting is.
Yeah. So then you get I use that quite often actually, and I was surprised to be doing that. But we do have also for each of the sections we do have a separate EQ. So you could, and it's parametric, so you can choose what frequency all of the three bands have. So that's also good. But that's the piano section to begin with. But we have the same browser. So we have a, this was the grand piano, the German grand, which is the sort of the latest model we did for the Phantom and the RD. Or 2000, I should say. But we also included a new V-Stage or V-Piano upright. So this was the grand. And this is the upright. And you can sort of hear that it's a bit shorter strings. And if we add a bit of reverb to this one, it can be really nice. And in the same way, we also included a new felt piano. It's also really nice. This one is, I call this the red wine piano late at night. Because it's so nice to just sit and dream away. Switch to the right. Or this one, I like the one clarity. You can also hear all of the noises. If we combine this with one of the new reverbs, perhaps we have the shimmer reverb in here, and the shimmer reverb would normally do this octave thingy, but we can choose it to not do that, and then it becomes more of a mod reverb. So it will. Sorry, I skipped ahead a bit, but I still feel that the effects is also an important and integral part of this instrument. So that's the piano section. Next up is the electric piano section, if there's no questions, because as we are, we are here together, please interrupt me at all times. But other than that, if there is no questions right now, I'll continue to talk about the electric piano section. And electric piano section is based on our supernatural technology, so we sort of developed that a bit further. So it's based on samples, but we use modeling technology sort of in between the samples or around the samples. And then so that gives us. So we have still the same thing. We can't hear any sample layers or anything because we use modeling in between those, and we use a lot of noises like release noises and stuff, and we can. I'm not sure if you see. Yeah, you see my. So if I hold the menu key and press the electric piano or any section, I will go right into the right editing section. Or I could do, menu, edit the electric piano, but that's so much quicker to do this. And then I will get right into that, the sort of more deep sections, edits section. So here I can find some of the parameters, like how much of the bell sound would I like. These two parameters actually have a knob on the front panel, but So we have a new detune feature that will sort of create almost a chorus-like effect. And we also have this one called Sound Lift, and that one will, so it's a very dynamic piano or electric piano, but that's not maybe what you would want in a band situation. Then you would be able to be heard also when playing soft. So that's why we invented Sound Lift. So it's not like a compressor, but it sort of raises the volume of the lower notes. So I can play very dynamic, but it will be heard all the time. Maybe not. That was a bit extra. Now I'm sort of going all in on all the parameters so you can hear it. But we do have different models. So we have the silver top is actually a new one. Then we have the 74 Rhodes. I can say that because we are in the same room. And the 75, the 76, the 79. But then we actually spent a lot of time or a lot of space of the control panel, because this was something we learned from talking with artists and users, that maybe they weren't really programming synth sounds on an instrument like this. So we sort of shrunk the synth section a bit to have more controls of the electric piano section. And we also took all of the electric piano section out of the piano section. So there's two separate sections because we felt that was the right thing to do. And therefore we have a dedicated multi-effect section for the electric piano. So we can, for instance, have a chorus. That's not the same as the detune. I can do, we have many different effects in here. So this would be with, and I can do maybe not wah-wah on electric piano is the best, but this one is quite cool. It's a phonograph effects. Add some you can control the wow and flutter effect of the non-existing record. I think this is quite cool. But of course I can turn off the noise and control how much of the scratches I want and stuff. But I could do the same as I did before. So hold the menu key and press this one to go into the menu on the right page to sort of see the full list of effects I can put here. So you can find stuff like the Juno chorus, the space design, or Dimension D space, and this one is Dimension D. And the CE1 chorus, for example, is also really nice. And there you can find some extra. And also in here, there's deeper routing stuff. You can say where the effects goes. Does it go before or after the preamp and tremolos and stuff? And here's also a separate EQ for the EP section. Talking about tremolos, I have a dedicated section over here for tremolos. So I I can switch types, and in the same way as before, I can hold the menu key and press this one to go to the sort of deeper editing. So personally, I'm not that big a fan of these stereo tremolos. I'm much more like the mono ones. But that's, of course, personal preference. And then finally we have the amplifier section. And it could be just a line amp with some drive. Or it can be like a Rhodes amp. And we have also in the amp section there's another EQ. So there's a lot of EQing going on if you want to. So starting to get quite nice, I think. And the same level and on-off control. So if I switch it off, it will go out. The lights will go out, and you won't be heard anymore. But of course, I could turn on two sections at the same time to create a blended. Sit for hours with this type of sound, I guess. Now let's see where that goes. So that was, very quick, the electric piano section. Are any questions about that, or should I continue with the next one? I take that as a yes, because next up is the synth section, and we shrunk it a bit, but we kept the most important controls. So we do have a filter cutoff knob right here, on-off. Which side of the split do you want it? The octave up and down, and here is a B button that I will come back to. In the tone selector, you will see sort of the most common synth sounds you would use in a product like this. So you have strings, pads, lead, bass, key, and others. But you can also, in this section, you will find like sample-based, even more pianos and more electric pianos with a sort of, that doesn't use the same engine as these ones. Because this one used the full Zencore engine, so it's our best sort of the flagship synth engine we have, the same as we use in the Phantom, and we, as I said before, we have this A and B part select, so that means that we have two full synth sections. So you can have two different synth sounds at the same time, and this can be stuff like a lead sound. And the cool thing with this whole Zencore system is that all of the sounds are fully compatible with Synology Pro, which is our VST software that you can use in your computer. It's available for Mac and PC. So if you create a sound at home in your computer, you can just export it and put it in your V-Stage. So this is, I think this is even one of my sounds. Yeah, it is. And so it's really quite nice, but it can also be like strings maybe this one together with. Starting to get quite cozy, I think. Yeah, but we do have some controls. We have controls of attack and release of the envelopes, and we do have a separate MFX section for the synths as well. So there's one for synth A and one for synth B. So a lot of powers there. And you could, of course, switch them on, both of them. So maybe I want for some reason, I want a synth lead with a string. Then I can do that. And finally, yeah, there's also compatibility with our model expansions for the Synology or the Sencore engine. So we have currently the Jupiter 8, the Juno 106, the SH101, and the JX8P. All of those 4 models are compatible and included with the purchase of a V-Stage. So you get all of those sort of model expansions. And model expansions is something that sort of builds upon the Sencore engine, and we sort of, most of the time it's a matter of taking out functions that weren't available or make it react like the original vintage instrument. So you get a very nice sound. So you can. So maybe we want to hear some Jupiter strings. And of course the Jupiter string would like to be surrounded by a nice chorus, perhaps, maybe this one. And that's just one synth part, so it's like super nice to have these sounds in here. Maybe perhaps we want to try some Juno. I have a tendency to go for Juno brass. Let's see. Yeah, maybe just this one. Sorry. Some effects again. So it's quite easy to go between all of this, and all of the panel is there to sort of help you with your inspiration in the spur of the moment. So yeah, we did quite some research about what to have here and how to.
How much sound you can play together?
So how many? So yeah, so there's 2 synth parts. So yeah, so you could have like a Juno and a Jupiter 8 at the same time, for example. So there's 2 synth parts, 1 electric piano, 1 acoustic piano, 3 organ. So the organ has an upper, lower, and a pedal as well. And finally, we have the total effects section, which includes once again a multi-effects section with all of the 90 selectable effects. So there's quite a quite a lot in here. Including some crazy ones. But yeah, but you will find all of the same as in the Synology, including actually the Juno chorus with the characteristic Juno chorus noise, which you in this one can turn off if you don't like it, but it's actually quite nice. So of course it's no synth in a way. If you if that's what you want, that we have better synths, but not better in sound quality. Maybe just better on use of the panel. And finally, there's a master EQ and compressor. So over here, so this one is really nice to be able to just switch on and work with on the fly even. So you can either have it to adapt to a certain room, or maybe, okay, now I want the solo to cut through a bit more. I can just switch on a EQ. Same for the compressor. There's if you once again hold the menu button and press this one, you get to see the settings, and it's either a 3-band compressor, but it can also be a more like an 76 type to maybe create some more smashed sounds. Maybe let's go for. So it's quite nice to have these in here as well, so you can get sort of a ready sound. And finally, we have a mic input on the back. We can actually go through the backside. As you can see here, we have main outs on XLR. So these are balanced XLR outs, and that means that we don't have to use DI boxes when playing live, for example. But we have the same main out on normal TRS, still balanced. And there's a sub out that each of the parts can be assigned to if you want to. So maybe you want to route the organ section to a real Leslie, for example, or you want a bass to go through a bass amp or something. So then you can use the sub outs. But there's also line inputs, and here's the mic input. So these will use this section, and there's a handy level knob on the panel. Further here is USB to the computer. So I can route with one cable. I run USB MIDI and USB audio at the same time. And it's actually class compliant if I want to, so I can also connect stuff like my smartphone or an iPad to also play audio and MIDI via one cable. But if I do install our driver, because generic mode will give you stereo signal, but with our driver you will have each section as an input to your DAW. So it's really nice to be able to play or record all of those separately. But you can also play music back from the computer and have the sound go out here. Or maybe you're using the computer as a VST host or AU host and play software instruments, and that's the same situation. So you have full control with just one USB cable. And for that reason, we also included a DAW control mode for main stage, which is the most common use we will see, about feedback if we need to also adapt to other platforms. But currently it's main stage. And then I will see the main stage concert list on screen here. So that's quite handy, actually. So I don't really have to have the computer on stage visible. So I can have that away. We also have a USB memory key slot here, and all of you can also please take one when you leave, because we have for this event actually first time the Roland V-Stage USB key. So it's a bit of free merch, and you have some stickers and a t-shirt if you want to as well. But that one can be put in here. And the good thing is that I can then directly to the USB key make a whole backup, for example. So say I have this at home and I will go on a fly gig to, I don't know, Vienna or something, and I don't want to bring my V-Stage. I can just travel with my USB key and rent a V-Stage, and like in under a minute I will be having all of my stuff in there. So it's really handy. And it can also be used, of course, for importing sounds from Synology Pro.
That's MIDI.
Sorry.
USB and MIDI.
Yeah. This one is for computer connection. This one is for the USB stick. But then I have two external devices. So two more ports. That's for external MIDI keyboards. So maybe I have a couple of A49s or something. And they will accept generic MIDI, but it's of course really hard for us to say that it will work with every generic MIDI device out there, but it should. As far as if they sort of follow the standard. But you can use this as well as, just a small lamp, USB lamp. I often use it just for charging my phone. So it's really handy to have a couple of extra USB outputs. But then we have normal, sort of old school DIN MIDI as well. So we have one MIDI in and two MIDI out ports. And the second one can be a through port if you want to instead. But it's quite good as a master keyboard. And each of the sections will send and receive on its own MIDI channel. So you can, you could have it also just for controlling, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different software instruments or something. If you don't have a host that will accept just one MIDI channel, so you could have like a rack of MIDI gear with different MIDI channels. And over here we have 4 pedal inputs. So there's a hold pedal and then 3 assignable control inputs, and these can be either stuff like this one, a EV5, or another expression pedal like the FV500, which is my favorite. Or it can be switch pedals for stuff like switching on the Rotary speaker or changing the speed or changing to the next sound. For example, you could have like up and down buttons, is quite useful as well. And then a proper built-in AC adapter and a really fast boot up time, so it's up and running in 13 seconds, I think. And that's, I guess, the hardware. Maybe should I perhaps just to demonstrate the audio in, I can just play a track from the computer that will now be playing through this V-Stage. So you can sort of hear it in the context. piano. But it's really, oh, thank you. But it's time for some questions, maybe, perhaps. Or was that clear enough? Or do you want to come and play it? Sorry. Oh, I know I saw it on the, yeah. No, but it's always the same. We are sort of, we sell to the store, and then it's up to the store to say what they want to have. But I visited the store earlier. Of course, I should have prepared this. Because I saw... No, sorry.
I know today is a promotion price.
Oh, yeah?
I know.
Yeah. No, but according to the website, it's $29.99 for the 76 and $33.99 for the 88. And I still believe they have 88s in stock because I went by the warehouse before. And 76 we are all longing for. We sort of didn't expect that so many people would want the 76 model. So we're a bit behind on that one. But I would say 76s come in later this month. So it's still just a matter of weeks. But they're well worth it. And it's an amazing instrument. And I'm so happy that we have it finally. And I will be selling my other red one personally. What I didn't tell you about was in the electric piano section. There's also a we only talked about the Rhodes, but there's also a great Wurlitzer. Now I perhaps went a bit further or too hard on all of the EQs. The right choice, but it's nice, and we also have a really nice clavinet. They can use the expression pedal as effect control. It's quite fun to also mix and match instruments that maybe not would be played exactly the same, but it's as long as it sounds good, I think it can't be wrong. And we also have all of the MKS-20 stuff in here. I played something before. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I did some. Yeah. Because I'm from Sweden. That's all we do. Now, what it, and yeah, what we didn't talk about, we can do that. We didn't talk about the sort of the middle section. We just talked about the different parts. So in the middle section, we have this full color screen. It's a quite big one and really clear. But we tried, even though it's full color, we tried to be quite sparse with the use of color because we want it to be loud and clear, not fancy graphics. And all of the sounds, when you have sort of found your different sounds, then you will save that as a scene. So a scene will contain all of the settings. So we're trying a bit of a different approach than for, say, a Phantom, where as in a Phantom or many of the historical, like the JV series, the XP series, you would have to save also the tones separately, or the patches as they were called before. But in this one, we save only the scene, and it will contain all of the included sounds for all of the sections. That of course leads to another sort of backward situation where you could say that, okay, I have this sound, but I would like to have the piano from another scene that I've saved already. But then you can, in every of the tone browsers, you can see that you can also recall all of the separate sounds from any of the already saved scenes. So say I want my maybe, I'm not sure what we should choose, but let's just go for the sorry, that was a bit stupid. I just chose the organ instead of the piano I was going for. But so in here I could say I want the breeze felt from another scene to go with this. But we can also do stuff because this instrument has a tendency to be used just as I did, just come up with stuff in the spur of the moment or under a jam or a rehearsal. So that because of that, we created also 8 extra scenes, which you can use by holding Shift and pressing this button. Then you will have 8 scene buttons that are, or 8 scene memories that are temporary. So you can, for each of these, you don't have to save them at all. You just select, the sounds that you want. Maybe I want this German concert on number 1. On number 2, I want a electric piano, and then I can just switch between these 8 sort of temporary. I don't even have to write them, and I could even power off now, and they will stay even. So they're like auto saving all the time. If I come up with a sound, maybe during a jam session or a rehearsal or something, and I want to save it as a proper scene, I can just do the normal write thingy. So you save it and name it. But if I don't want to, I can just also keep these 8 scenes to be played sort of on the fly. And that's really useful when you sort of get to start to use that. But if you're more better organized person, you would have proper scenes for each song, and then you might want to do a chain of so like a set list, and that's easy. I can't really remember how many chains we can have, but it's many. Do we have any? Yeah, it's 8 by 16. So Pascal is good at math. And for each of these, I can't remember if it's 256 or 512 steps per scene. So it's you can have, you can play for a long time, but it's really easy to use these. You can then either do this and use the sort of the same buttons, but you could also have maybe these keys to go to next scene, or you could have a pair of pedals go to next and previews. And
a question: when
yeah.
you change from 1 to number 2, and you have a delay,
all of that will be carried over.
Yeah. So the delay is not important.
No, and even actually for the first time, we haven't been able to do this with the V pianos before. So this is the first time we can do it. So all of the effects will carry over when switching scenes. So I will. It will even work with sustain pedals. So there's a lot of horsepower under the hood. We actually have one more processor than the Phantom EX, so it's like more powerful just because of this. So it's really magnificent instrument, and I don't really have anything more that I wanted to say, but there might be. What can we have missed? We talked about split points. Sorry? Yeah. I missed to introduce Pascal, yeah. Or
Thanks to him, we have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think you've noticed already. No, but this is amazing to see a long-time old friend and helping us out this way. I'm very thankful for this, and I hope you are too. And I hope I didn't check the synth stand too much. But there are some clever buttons left. There's a tap tempo button. I think that's really useful because then we can use synced delays even though we play live, for example. So I often do that and have a just tap of 1, 2, 3, 4 and get the tempo set for everything and all of the synced effects. Transpose, I'm older than 50, so I can use that button. Up till 50 you're not allowed, but after 50 it's okay. And we all know that guitar players, they just look cool when they use a capo. So I think it's time that we sort of man up and use the transpose button when you want to. Split point can be set to any key, no restrictions. You can even do more advanced stuff because now I would just put the split point here and then I can for each section say, okay, I want this on the left side, I want this on the right side, this is on the both sides and this one on the right side. But I could also do stuff like holding the split point and then select the electric piano, and then I can set a separate split point just for the EP. So this actually you can do quite advanced splits even though it's really quick. so yeah, that's.
So I can have 5 different instruments.
Yeah.
On each octave.
Yeah, actually, right now we do only have a split point. We don't have a key range. We did at some point in the development, but at some point we also decided that we wanted it to be quick. So on a Phantom, for example, you would set the lower and upper key, and that you could have like key ranges. We'll see how the feedback will be on this one because we're trying a new way of doing it, and perhaps that would be a good thing to also be able to go deeper into the menu and do that. But right now we have that situation. I didn't talk about the assign button because that's also really nice. Say I want to assign this pedal. I just hold the assign button and then wiggle the pedal. And then I can, for each section, have a different function. So I could say I want to have it like a cutoff for the synth section A, for example. And then I just need to have some sound on there. It's an amazing sound. But let's find. It's quite fun when you start using it. You could actually also set a minimum and maximum value for this one, so you could have it go just from 0 to 63, for example. Then it will. But then I had the split point as well. Sorry. And that was the same trick I used for this break button, for example. So I hold the sign and press this one, and I can say, and this can be set either on a system level. So you say, okay, I want my controllers to be used the same on all of the scenes, or I can set this per scene. So that's totally up to you. And there's quite some things in here. But also, if I do it with a pedal, I can also do it. You see that these are blinking. So say I wanted to control the delay level, for example. I can do that in theory. If I had a delay on. Oh, sorry. I messed up my. I need to. if I was sending to delay. And I could actually do this like this. You have to believe me. So it's not only sort of parameters in the sounds generators themselves, but also the effects that can be assigned.
But you can also assign parameter of effects.
Yeah, some
not showing on the panel. At example,
yeah.
I am a huge fan of the ring modulators.
Can
I control the frequency with the big
perhaps. Let's see. I've never tried, but there's a first time for everything. There is a ring modulator in here. So let's say I put it on the MFX. And then we can say we insert it just on the synth A, which is what sounds. There is already the knob for that. And if this should work now if I do this instead, and then it's called TFX Control 2. So now the pedal should be controlling that. It still seems like it's controlling. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't.
So you can also control with 1 foot more parameters.
Yeah, but only one per section, if you say. So okay. One for the electric piano, one for the acoustic piano. So, but that's also a thing that we might consider to change, because we've heard it, or I've been in a certain situation when I would like to, maybe just a little bit volume and a little bit open the filter and maybe some ring modulator. And so let's see where we go. But currently that's is one per section, but it's still quite much, and especially since we can have 4 pedals and all of the buttons and everything is assignable. Do you want me to play something more, or are we happy? Or do you want to play something? I can just play you out with some, maybe this one. What about some power funk in weird key? Thank you. And yeah, that was more or less all for me. Take some of the goodie bags and come and play here. Actually, the backing tracks I was using are from Roland Cloud. So if you enjoy them, go there and download them because they're quite fun. And thanks a lot for coming, all of you. And thanks a lot, Roland, Switzerland, for having me. And hope to meet you again.